Well, I'm Alan Dale from Gale Force Winds. What an absolute pleasure it is to be here. The Atlantic Canadian Aerospace and Defence Association at their Maritime Arctic Safety and Security 2025 show. I want to tell you, this has been a great event. It's growing year over year. Incredible collaboration. So many people in the conversation. And thank you to our good friends at the Ship Stop Here initiative for bringing this entire conversation to light. They understand that everybody's voices matter in this conversation. And quite honestly, they also understand that this is indeed the gateway to the Arctic. I like meeting these folks one person at a time. And on that note, why don't you introduce yourself?
Thank you. I'm really excited to hop up here. Meagan Fowlow, president of the Co-Innovation Center.
Tell me about Co-Innovation Center. What are you guys all about?
So the Co-Innovation Center is fairly new. So we had our official 1-year anniversary earlier this month, or I guess in June. And we're really focused on driving collaboration and innovation in the province. So we're really focused on bringing different sectors together, but it's industry-driven innovation. So the focus is on industry. Really, one of the big things for us is, and why we're here, is that trifecta between defense, energy, and mining, and the capabilities that are really going to drive that development.
So many dual-use tech out there, right? And so many opportunities to sort of collaborate with one another, which speaks to exactly what your center does. All that coupled with a signal from the federal government that we're about to make some big spends or big procurements in this area. How do you see yourself positioned in all of that, specifically in defense?
So for us, an innovation center is really here to support the development of the province, the businesses in the province, and we're really focused on making sure that we have the right resources and the assets in place to support that growth. We know we're going to have to move fast. And for us, the argument that we make is Newfoundland and Labrador has companies and businesses and individuals who have that experience in remote, harsh conditions, operating in the toughest areas almost in the world. So if you can function here, you can do it anywhere. And I'm sure you've talked to many of those companies. But for us, how do we then leverage those capabilities that exist in energy into those other sectors and prioritize right now? For us, the priority is defense. How do we support that growth of that industry? One of the interesting options that we have and that we're really trying to develop out, and because we're only at year 1, we have that ability to pivot.
Right.
And so how do you drive pilot R&D projects that are responsive to industry needs and also push companies on that path to commercialization? That's really what we're focusing on now. So how do we put those pieces in place that help those companies get the outputs they need to reach global markets even, and that's what we're looking at. And I know you've already probably heard a lot of the Canadian procurement conversations, but also that is really what we're here for. So removing those resource barriers, removing access to other companies, and getting them to come together and have those conversations.
Yeah, and I love the way you describe it as sort of it's almost like a blank canvas here, right? I mean, people can be part of drawing where this is going in the future. Build space up there as well, right? You've got an ability not only to collaborate as companies, but there's a great build space as well. Am I right?
Yeah, and so actually this is a good point because it's a 50,000 square foot facility up on Torbay Road, and we focused just on the office side first, and the timing couldn't be better for this. So we have about 20,000 square feet of like industrial space, and what we're really doing now is having those conversations. What kinds of assets do people need access to? Are there shared assets? Can we put them in that space? And how do we fit it up to run what we're now calling like rapid innovation accelerators?
Okay.
So how do you do R&D that happens quickly so we can test that out, reduce the risk, and really offer space that a lot of the incoming companies are going to be interested in and need access to.
Yeah. It must be amazing when you bring these people together and they learn from one another. They may not even be working on the same style of project, but just learning to fail fast and learn and iterate and all of those techniques that we need, it's happening naturally in your space.
And this was the call that came like for years before we even opened. Was there was an interest in working with each other across sectors. So the companies, they don't just work in one sector. We have a lot of companies who work in energy, mining, aerospace, and we have a lot of very experienced global companies who can share the lessons learned with other companies that are actually just pivoting. And we've had that dual use conversation. We've started having more of those conversations at the Innovation Center, and even just having a conversation, so very low barrier, even that creates really interesting connections and then leads to actual collaborations. And so with very low effort, we already see that happening. So what we're excited about is when we do very purposeful activities to drive that collaboration, to drive that innovation, we really think we're going to see some exciting things.
Yeah, I love that because to be quite honest with you, oftentimes we talk about tech as being its own individual thing, but it's not.
No.
It's almost a language that goes across everything. Am I right?
Yes, and you hit on my favorite thing, which is really important, and this is the piece I keep putting out there again and again. Innovation doesn't equal tech. Tech is going to enable all of our innovation across sectors. For Newfoundland and Labrador and companies here, we're actually probably going to see the most advancement in adopting and adapting to different areas. So we're going to take technology or products in energy, and they've been used in that sector, and we're going to adapt or adopt those into something related to defense. And that's where really exciting things can happen. And so tech is going to enable all of that, but the outcome isn't the technology. So that's really important distinction for me.
That's good. Mass, how's that been for you? How's the show been?
It's really good, and what's really nice to see is last year was my first Mass, and it has grown, and what's great is that sense of the Atlantic. And for me, my interest is seeing more and more companies talk about that and having that diversity, and even seeing companies I didn't know we had. So I've got a couple on my list that I'm going to go chat with, and seeing that growth, and this is a really critical time. And it is important for our province and our companies to make sure we're prepared. And how do we do that? We've got to be able to do it quickly. So it's better together.
An absolute great conversation. And this is what collaboration looks like, what you're building here. Very much appreciated for what you're doing. Thanks for being on the show.
Thank you. It's great having me.